Welcome tonight, and happy full moon in Aquarius. Again, it's not deja vu. Our last moon circle was in celebration of the Aquarian moon, and we are again in the Aquarian moon because we have just now, as we're joining live here, we are now in Virgo season. But when the moon peaked at its fullest today, this morning, we were still in Leo season. So full moons are always in the sign opposite of the current sun season. And we've been in the sun season of Leo. The opposite of Leo is Aquarius, and so that's why we have another Aquarian moon. This might also be referenced as a blue moon because it is a moon in the same sign, in the same zodiac month. We have the same moon coming back around, which kind of happens once in a blue moon. That's where we get the reference from. This can also be referred to two full moons in a calendar month. Sometimes that's also called a blue moon, but whatever you call it, welcome. We are going to circle up tonight for about an hour. We're going to talk all about the full moon and a little bit of kind of what's going on in the cosmos right now. We've got a lot going on. I'll also touch on the Vedic astrology of this moon, and we'll do some chanting tonight. We'll do a little bit of meditation, and feel free to share anything that you want to share in the chat. Also, feel free to introduce yourself, say hi, where you're from, how you're feeling with this moon. Are you an Aquarius? Are you a Leo? I'm also curious to know if you're a Virgo. Are there any Virgos tuning into this circle? And even if you're catching the replay, feel free to put in the comments anything that you want. I do go back and check these and respond to them after we are live. And if this is your first time tuning in to my circles, I just want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Vina Lene Rachel, and I am a moon priestess, an intuitive, and a channeler of the divine. And I host these circles every full moon and new moon here on Facebook as of this time right now. But I've been doing these virtually for a couple of years. I took a little bit of a break when I had my son, but I've been doing these pretty consistently over the past year. So I like to tune in every full moon and new moon and just kind of say hi, let you know what is going on with this particular moon, what's going on with the cosmos, anything else that can help contribute to your life and help to serve your spiritual path or your journey of self-healing. And I also like to share things in written form. So if you are not on my email list, I do send out an email every new moon and full moon. And you can go to my website, vinalene.com, and sign up for that on the homepage. You can also become part of my free online community called Tribe. I've been a little sporadic and absent there, but I'm getting back into posting there as of tomorrow. I'm going to start posting more information there. It's kind of just a little social network group. It's all free. I moderate it, so it's not under any sort of platform. It's just underneath my website. And then also, as far as written stuff goes, I write about the full moon. I write about the new moon. I write about the tarot readings that come through every new moon and full moon. And I also talk about each astrological season. So if you want to check any of that stuff out, if you want to read more about this full moon in Aquarius, if you wanted to read about what happened with the last full moon in Aquarius, our last full moon, if you want to know about Leo season, Virgo season, any of that, go hop on my website and you can find some stuff there. I'm doing a little bit of remodeling over there, so things are going to start changing pretty soon, but you can go check out what I have going on right now. Sarah says she is a Leo, saying hello from Michigan. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. And your season is just over now, but how are you feeling with this Aquarian moon? I'm curious how your energy is doing today, or how your energy's been doing over the past few days. So before we get into more details about this Aquarian full moon, let's just briefly touch on what a full moon is, what it means. It's essentially when the sun is shining onto the moon and the earth is in between. So we've got the moon, over here in my hand. Imagine my head being the earth. Imagine the sun being over here. And we can see that light that's shining onto the moon, reflecting back onto earth. And that's why it's so bright at night right now during a full moon. This is also a time of heightened energy because we have a little bit of that solar energy igniting us. It heightens what we call our prana or our life force energy. This might also be referred to as your chi or your ki. And a lot of times we can feel that elevation because we're kind of in our head more. We tend to be a little bit more in our mind, a little distracted. We might be more emotional than normal. We might be over irrational. We might make mistakes or be clumsy or not pay attention to what we're doing. We're not very grounded. And physics wise, we don't have as much gravity on Earth's side. We're more pulled up to the moon during a full moon. This is also a time where there's more accidents. There's more trips to the ER, the emergency room. There's more babies born. I know that one of my friends, if she happens to tune into this circle tonight or later, I know that her and her husband raised cattle, and there were like 4 calves born last night. I think there were 4 babies born last night. A lot of babies born last night with this full moon. So there's a lot of energy that comes with a full moon. And even if you don't know anything about a moon, you might just know that full moons make us a little bit crazy, or you might feel like everybody else is crazy around you. Things are just a little off because we're pulled up more in our head. We're pulled up more off the earth. We're not so grounded, and it makes us feel a little restless, anxious, and just a little imbalanced in our energy. Sarah said, what energy? She's had trouble with energy lately, so she's been sleeping a ton. So you're a fire sign, Sarah, and fire signs, Leo's a fire sign, and we just passed through the Lionsgate portal. We've come out of that. Jupiter just went to its fullest in its peak of its retrograde, which means it's at its brightest. It's past now, but we've had a lot of solar energy. So if you're a fire sign, I have a lot of fire signs that are clients, and I am a fire rising sign. I'm a Leo rising. If you have fire in your chart, especially in your big 3, your sun, moon, or rising, you might have been affected by all of this extra heat, extra solar energy, extra fire energy coming through. And it can be really draining. It can kind of like burn you out if you've got that strong fire energy in your chart. So that's probably what's going on with you, Sarah. And now that we're moving more into this earthy Virgo season, and we're moving into, actually the moon is in Pisces right now as we're talking, but we're still in that Aquarian full moon energy because the full moon is amplified, right? But regardless, you're going to start to feel a little bit more regenerated as you rest, as you slow down, as you take time to just kind of like recharge your energy. Fire signs are kind of like a battery. They've got to like charge back up every once in a while. Once they're charged, though, they go, right? Okay, so let's take a deep breath to ground in with all of this air energy, this heightened prana, this stuff in our mind and pulling us up to the moon. We're also in the element of air with this Aquarian energy. It's a really good time to ground in with our breath. So just one more breath here. Let's take an inhale. Really, really deep exhale. And then just breathe and kind of shake it out. Let go of any tension in your shoulders. Let go of any tension in your hips. Let your legs be heavy. Let yourself be soft and relaxed. And we're going to talk a little bit about the actual full moon in Aquarius tonight. We're going to talk about Aquarian energy and what that means. We're going to touch on Virgo season since we're officially in it now with this recording. This is a really unique day. We've got Leo, Aquarius, and Virgo energy all kind of coming together in one day. We're going to talk about the current retrograde season as well. There's a lot of planets and cosmic bodies in retrograde right now, so we'll touch base on that. I also have plans for us to do a little bit of chanting tonight, a little bit of meditation, and maybe do a release exercise to align with this full moon. Before we do any of that, I'm going to open up our circle by bringing in the elements and calling on the guides and the guardians. So we're going to start by bringing in the 5 elements. And I do this with every circle. If you do not have these materials with you, that is fine. You can take in the energy here from the materials that I'm sharing with you through the ether from my home space. If you have other materials you'd want to bring into your circle later on, if you do another ceremony or ritual, you can certainly do that as well. These are just the elements that I felt called to use in our ceremony tonight. I want to start with the earth element of crystal quartz. And I'm bringing in a crystal quartz point here, generator actually. This is a really large point, and you can see that it's got these 6 sides on it. So it's amplifying energy. And it's really, it's a good reflection. It's really powerful right now. It's got the energy out, the outside shining in. But crystal quartz is good for helping us move kind of into our crown chakra. It also helps us to see clearly. It kind of brings in that crystalline mindset, that crystalline consciousness, if you may. And we are, really recrystallizing on Earth right now. There's a lot of force and pressure that it takes to form crystals, to form these beautiful objects that we use for healing and power and energy. And we have a lot of force, and we have a lot of pressure, and we have a lot of heat going on right now. So I thought that bringing in this crystal quartz generator would be the perfect earth element to bring into our circle. So I'm just going to bring this in right now. We'll use it later on as well. I'm also bringing in the earth element of white sage, and this is the same bundle that we used last time with our Aquarian moon, the full moon before. And I like white sage because it's very cleansing. I talked about combining these elements of earth, air, and fire right now. Virgo, Aquarius, and Leo, earth, air, and fire. So we've got earth from the sage, fire from our fire here, and then eventually you're going to see a smoke, which will represent the air element or wind. There it goes. And it's pretty clean in here, and that's why it's not smoking too much. So we like to smudge on full moons because this is a time of release. This is a time for us to cleanse and let go. It's a pause halfway through the lunar cycle. So it's a time for us to release anything that's standing in the way of us reaching our goals, dreams, and intentions. It's a time to release anything that's preventing us from taking action. We take a little pause now to rest, slow down, be still, turn within, meditate, cleanse, do all of our celebrations, ceremonies, rituals, whatever we need to do so that we can again show up in a couple of days back to our goals and finish out this lunar circle and lunar cycle with success. So the other thing that's interesting about full moon energy is parasites and bacteria and yeast and all these little microscopic critters can be more active right now. So we want to use sage or smudging smoke to cleanse the air of any microbes that could be harming our energy or harming our health or harming our body. I'm just going to smudge myself really quick here, going all the way around. Just because I'm going to be channeling through to you tonight. I'm also going to smudge the tech here. I've kind of been doing that already, but I'll send this smoke out to you, smudging your energy. And of course, I'm smudging this space that we're connecting to from my home. So I'll just continue to let that burn there. And I've also brought in the element of water through the essential oil of patchouli. I really like patchouli. I use doTERRA essential oils for the most part, by the way. So this is doTERRA's patchouli. But I really love patchouli for grounding energy. This is a heightened energetic moon. So we want to find ways to ground Virgo energy, that earthy energy that's coming in. Virgos tend to love patchouli. They tend to be attracted to it. So earth elements tend to be attracted to patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, some of those earthy oils and earthy elements. And when you bring it through in the form of water, that's just another way to alchemize the energy. So when we use essential oils, especially ones that are pure, that are don't have any contaminants in them, they are very concentrated forms of plants. So again, we're getting that aspect of earth element, but then we're concentrating it down into the element of water. We've got this in a liquid form. You could put this in your diffuser. You could combine this with a carrier oil, dab it on your feet, dab it on your wrist, your heart, wherever you're feeling called. Maybe dab it on your third eye if you need to ground back in all the way through your body or all the way through your energy. You could put this in your bath and combine it with your water there and just kind of enhance the energy and increase the water energy, the cleansing properties of the oil. But also you can smell it. And I mentioned diffusing, but if you just smell the oil, Using it aromatically directly from the bottle. It smells really good tonight. Sometimes I'm not attracted to patchouli, but right now I really am. And that's because I'm grounding. I've got Venus in Virgo. My husband's a Virgo. I'm a Leo rising, I mentioned, and I'm an air sign. I'm a Libra sun. So I need the grounding energy right now. But patchouli can be used to, again, use that air element as well, just to help ground you back down. So when we have strong air element, use an earthing oil, an oil that's really grounding to help bring you back down to your root chakra. We want to connect to our root chakra to help balance out all of this heightened prana. Root chakra energy is a prana energy. It's that energy at the exhale, the bottom of the breath. And that's why we've been doing so much of that. And we're going to take another breath in a moment, but I also want to share that fifth element. It's the ether. It's the space that we're connecting to through technology, online, in the virtual space. And the ether is beautiful because it withstands space. You can take in the elements of all, or the energy of all these elements I just shared, but it also withstands time. So even if you're tuning into the replay, you're going to receive the energy of these elements and anything else that comes from this circle tonight. So taking in this energy of earth through the crystal quartz generator, through the white sage, the energy of fire we use to ignite the sage, to bring in the element of air, bringing in that cleansing element of smoke, also bringing in the element of air and earth through our essential oil, also alchemizing into the element of water and using the element of ether to bring it all together. Let's take a deep breath to receive, maybe sweeping arms overhead. Deep exhale, sinking into apana energy, the opposite of the breath. Really letting go, connecting to gravity. And you can choose to keep your eyes closed here if you'd like, or you can keep them open. I'm going to go into more of a prayer, inviting in our guides and the guardians. So I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly for a moment. Take another deep breath. And I really feel like drumming, actually, as I call in the guides and the guardians tonight. So I'm just going to do a little drumming here in the process. That's nice. Okay, we're going to call on the guides and the guardians of the East. That element of air, so strong right now. Bringing in new beginnings, a chance to start again if we need to with this full moon, or just a chance to kind of breathe out the old and create space for the new. We thank the guides and guardians of the East for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South. That element of water, change, ebb and flow, the concept of time, past, present, future, always flowing, ever constant. And as we bring in these guides and guardians of the South tonight, inviting in this water element, connecting to the energy of the moon, we ask that they help us control the ebb and flow of our own emotional tides and waters. Inviting in the guides and the guardians of the West. Element of fire. As we begin to let go of so much light. This last season of summer, we've just let go of Leo. That season of fixed fire. Yet we still hold on to it through this full moon now, receiving these solar light codes and bringing in the element of fire to burn away what no longer serves, inviting in transformation. We thank the guides and guardians of the West for being here. And we invite the guides and guardians of the North, element of earth, as we drum now, connecting to our heartbeats, Connecting to that magnetic pulse of the earth, that element of gravity, energy of root chakra, helping us to ground. And calling in the guides and the guardians of the north as our ancestors, our guides, those that have been here before us. We thank the guides and guardians of the north for being here, and we also invite the guides and guardians of the ether, cosmic beings, angels, archangels, deities, any other beings of light that need to be here now under this Aquarian full moon, the energy of the cosmic alien, that outer worldly energy. We thank the guides and guardians of the ether for being here now. And so it is. Feel that vibration. So welcome if you're just tuning in. Welcome, Tristan. You know, my camera shifted crooked, but I think I'm going to leave it that way because it's an Aquarius moon. And I know Tristan's an Aquarius, so welcome. How are you feeling, Tristan? I'm curious if you're still here with this full moon compared to the last full moon. And how did that full moon circle serve you? I'm just curious how things are playing out now a month later. So let's talk about this Aquarius moon. Let's talk about Aquarian energy. It's a little outer worldly. Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer. So she has her vessel of water and she pours from it. And she's known as somebody that travels from community to community, person to person, family to family, sharing that water. And that water, it's her own experiences and emotions and stories and wisdom and insight. But it's also the stories of others that she's collected along the way. So Aquarius, she's a space holder. And if you are Aquarius, or if you have Aquarian energy strongly influencing your birth chart, you might find that a lot of people talk to you. A lot of people open up to you. You might find that you're naturally an empath and you can sense energy, or energy on Earth maybe just be too much for you sometimes because you kind of feel like you don't belong on this planet. Aquarius is very innovative. They think outside the box. They kind of shake things up by turning things upside down or taking a different perspective. They're freedom lovers. They like to go against the norm and they like to speak out. They're not really afraid to speak up for going against the norm or doing things differently or wanting to kind of have a different perspective. As we talk through this crooked screen, my phone doesn't want to stay straight tonight, right? So when we have a full moon in Aquarius, we're going to be bringing in a lot of those energies into our emotions, into anything in our personal energetic moon or sacral chakra, which is responsible for money. It's responsible for worthiness, for pleasure, for sexuality, for reproduction, for fertility, anything that has to do with relationships right now. All of these things can be impacted by Aquarian energy. So it's a time to think outside the box, maybe on how you earn money. It's a time to do things differently as far as maybe your self-care practices, or maybe you mix things up in the bedroom with your romantic partner. It's a time to get a little weird. If you've got weirdo friends, people that really vibe with you, people that are into your like woo-woo weirdo tribe, this is the time to like be with them or connect to them. Hence us connecting on this, space in this virtual full moon circle. But Aquarius energy, because it's so outer worldly, because it kind of feels like it's from another planet, because it kind of feels like it's from outer space, because it's a storyteller that can go from culture to culture without any judgment, they love everybody and everything. They love to stoke up those stories. They love to soak up culture. They love to learn new things. They also love people. They love learning about people. They're fascinated with human beings, even though they're a human being themselves, kind of, sorta. I don't know. They're fascinated with human beings and the human being experience. So Aquarius energy is very humanitarian. So when it comes to this, this energy of sacral chakra, money, pleasure. It might make you feel really good to give your money away right now, to give your money away to a good cause, or to volunteer your time. We look at money as far as worthiness, but money is just one form of energetic exchange. Our time is another form of value. Value comes up more in the solar plexus as well. We've just let go of Leo season. Now Leo is the opposite of Aquarius, right? So we're letting go of that a little bit, but it's still there as far as us showing up to, find things that are valuable of our time. So if you're feeling called to volunteer or give yourself a service right now, I highly suggest that you look into doing that, because Aquarian full moons are going to shine light on maybe projects or places where you could do that if you're setting that kind of intention. If those things are things that you want to do, but there's other things standing in the way of that. There's other things that are taking away your time from doing the things you want to do, or giving of service, or finding new ways to make money or give money away. It's time to release those things with this full moon as well. So I talk about Aquarius loving everybody and anything, and being fascinated with the human experience. This is also a time to have a really open mind. And that's difficult for us as human beings, right? Like, human beings have an ego, and we have a lot of labels that we like to attach ourselves to, and we really like to own those personal labels. And Aquarius is kind of like, labels, they don't really see that as strongly, and they really like us to kind of break out of those boxes, and they see everybody kind of like just for who they are, as their individual unique personalities, and their what makes them special, and what makes them weird, and what makes them different than everybody else, that makes them awesome and fascinating. Aquarius is about finding gifts. A lot of times Aquarians can help others find their gifts, or Aquariuses are constantly seeking out new gifts within themselves. Aquariuses have a lot of different interests. A lot of times, actually, I know an Aquarius that has, over the past 5 years that I've known her, she's gone from like learning about astrology to learning about tarot to learning about yoga to traveling all over the world to doing this and that. It's like constantly changing. But she takes in all this information because she's just so interested in it. And so we have that interest right now to have an open mind and to really open up to the things that we want to learn that might be a little weird, a little different, to the things that are just calling us to learn about. And this is also a time to open up to other people's stories and experiences. Especially right now with so much going on in the collective in regards to things that are stressing the collective, it's important to share our stories and our experiences so that we have a better understanding of each other. And Aquarian full moons really hold space for that. So if you need to share your story, and I'm going to do that tonight, that was something I felt called to do with this moon. I'll do that in a minute. But if you need to share your stories, that's really important for you to do right now. And especially through like the ether, through technology, through social media. So, write your posts or vlog, or put out that TikTok or that video or whatever it is, because people are listening. There's a more peaceful space to listen to that stuff, and hold space for it. And, it's not going to fall on deaf ears as much anymore. People are really going to start opening up, having an open mind, an open heart, and listening to other people's stories. Also, when we have an open mind, we've got to look at other cultures. We've got to look at other cultures without the goggles of separation on. We've got to remove all of these boundaries that we set around ourselves that tell us that we're so different from others that we fear others. Because I think that is really showing up right now, as we are now in this age of Aquarius, but we're on the dawn of it. It just shifted in December of 2020. So we're just kind of in it right now. And it's an age. It's going to take a long time to shift and go a different route with the way we're living and the way that we're thinking. But because we are in this shift from a different energy, we're also breaking out of our boxes. We were in the age of Capricorn. Capricorn was very structured, very organized, very labeled. very segregated. We're moving out of that now. And now we're starting to say, hey, we all are human beings, or we're all sentient beings. We're all souls. We're all spirit. We're all energy. We're starting to look at things from a different picture. And when we realize that our energies are connected and that all of us impact one another, we start to hold more empathetic space for each other. And we start to hold more love for each other. And we start to hold more understanding for each other. And this is what Aquarian energy wants us to do. So with this full moon, if you are struggling to understand someone else's story, or if you're struggling to just understand somebody else's culture, I think this is a really beautiful time and a really powerful, potent portal to open up a dialogue of safe, neutral conversation. And maybe it's just a conversation of, hey, I want to learn about you, and I want to know about you, and I want to hear your story, and I want to hear your side. And maybe you just hold that space without any need to respond, and you're just going to say, hey, I'm just going to respond with a thank you. I'm not going to have any sort of rebuttal. I'm going to meditate on everything you had to share with me. I'm going to develop my questions, and I'm going to come to you with the questions later, but this is a time to integrate it, to take it all in, to maybe think about these things, have that open mind, let it soak into your consciousness before your ego and your human conditioning and your personal programming wants to react, or wants to feel, or wants to really get the emotion into it. I think that that's really coming through right now. So, hold space for others. And if you don't understand somebody, then try to open up your heart chakra and really try to right now let this full moon shine light on the light in others, on the beauty in others, on the authenticity that makes others the people that they are. It's time to understand each other more. So before I share my own story, just a really quick thing. I'm going to grab a drink of tea and soothe my throat chakra. And we're going to talk about throat chakra tonight just a little bit. Okay. Throat chakra is all about your self-expression. And although Aquarius is air energy, our air, it moves through our throat and vibrates our vocal cords through voice. So this is a really important time to be bringing voice to things and really strengthening our self-expression, our truth, and our authenticity. So I want to talk very briefly on my personal experience on why I have not chosen to get something that a lot of other people are getting right now. So I'm going to be careful about the words I use, because I really do not want this to trigger anything on Facebook here. So I'm going to be careful about the words that I use. And I also want this to be a very neutral topic, because I want to start with saying that you have to do what you feel is safe for you. You have to do what you think protects you. I feel protected by making the choice to not put this thing into my body that a lot of people are putting into their body to protect themselves. Now, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people are angry about that. A lot of people are frustrated with that. A lot of people are just like, I don't get it. So I'm going to share why I feel that way. Well, the first reason is I have a genetic blood clotting disorder. I have hemophilia. I was born with it, and it messes with my ability for my blood to clot. Now, since I had what's been going around naturally, and I never got tested because it was around December 2019, January 2020, wasn't a time when we were testing for this yet, but I had all the symptoms. Once I had that, my menstrual cycle started getting very clotty. I have very large, alarmingly large clots, and a significant amount of them now, and I know a lot of women are going through this. So I know that this thing that is going around, that is spreading, I know that it definitely has an effect on our blood clotting somehow. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how. I just know my personal experience. It has affected that. I have witnessed that happening in my moon cycle. So having a genetic blood clotting disorder and knowing that this thing that people are putting in their body is having a reaction with blood clotting, I don't feel like it's the right thing for me to take. In fact, I feel like I have like a medical reason to not do it because I don't think it would be safe for me. It doesn't sound good. I do not want to have a clot that's unnecessary. The second reason that I'm choosing to not put this thing in my body is when I was 2 years old, my dad contracted HIV from his life-dependent medication that was produced by the pharmaceutical industry. He was a hemophiliac as well. That's where I inherited this condition. He had to have something called clotting factor that at the time in the 80s was produced from human blood. And at one point, a major amount of that medication got infected with HIV. And many people in the 80s, especially men, received that HIV and developed AIDS because of it. My dad was one of those people. And that really kind of like tainted me with the pharmaceutical industry from the get-go, from the moment that happened. You know, my whole life I've had a hesitancy, and it's why I have a biochemistry degree. It's why I tried to take pharmacy in college. It's why I continue to read studies and try to understand these things with these new pharmaceutical technologies that are coming out. I want to understand them, but at the same time, I have a hesitancy to incorporate them into my own body because my dad was so damaged by a medication produced by the pharmaceutical industry. The third reason that I'm hesitant is because some of these companies that are producing these products have been sued for damages or are pulling other products from their manufacturing off the market for damages. And it just seems like every pharmaceutical has a side effect or a lot of them. And it seems like recently we're starting to find that like 10, 15, 20 years down the road, we're pulling things off the market after the fact because of a lot of damages. And I've been damaged enough and I just don't want to do that. So that's my reason. And I just want to say thank you for holding space to hear that. And no matter what your opinion is on putting things into your body to protect yourself, I appreciate that you have now heard my story and understand why I'm making that choice. So thank you for that. And I'm not going to go any further. It's just what I wanted to share in light of this full moon. So thank you for being open-minded and open-hearted. Okay. So I think that we'll shift over to Vedic astrology now. I do like to talk about the Vedic world of things, and I'm no expert in Vedic astrology. I am learning more about it right now, but when I went to India 4 years ago, I became fascinated with it because so much of it aligns with the astrology of the Western world. So I like to touch base on it every moon, just kind of let you know what's going on there as well. So we are in Dhanishta Nakshatra in the Vedic world, and a nakshatra is just kind of like a constellation of stars that houses the moon. It's called a lunar mansion, and it's when the moon is exalted in a certain energy, just like it does in a certain solar sign or astrological sign. So this is the sign of, the nakshatra Dhanishta, and this is represented as the star of symphony. So this is a beautiful time to be bringing in music, vibration, voice, singing, and sound therapy as a loud motorcycle goes by, but bringing in sound therapy for healing. So whether you just need to give voice to things, that is sound therapy for healing. Whether you need to actually bring in vibrational therapy or binaural beats or listen to frequencies, that's sound healing. Maybe you need an actual sound bath. Perfect time to do it right now with this moon. Now, the star of symphony is also represented by the throat chakra and by the energy of destruction. This is the drum and the dance. when Lord Shiva is doing his dance of destruction. So the Tandava, his dance of destruction, there's a drumming that occurs to it. So that's why I brought in the drumming tonight. And when we bring in this energy, the drumming, right, it grounds us back down. It brings us back into earth. And Shiva is the destroyer of the things on earth. So this is that full moon energy of release. This is a time to destroy the things in your personal world that may be standing in your way of rising into a higher, elevated, global, or outer planetary consciousness. Like, we really have got to move into that outer planetary consciousness, this universal consciousness. And in order to do that, sometimes we've got to kind of destroy the things that are tying us down. You know, imagine yourself being constantly filled with helium like a balloon, but then being tied down by some sort of string or attachment or tether. And then once you cut that, you rise up with ease, right? So this is a time to let go of the things that are holding you down from rising up into the new earth, to creating your new world. This is also a time to be aware of your own dance of destruction. Now, we are just leaving Leo season with this moon. We're moving into Virgo season. Leo is the partier of the zodiac. Leos love to have fun. We've been kind of in that wild and free summer loving energy, but now it's, you know, kind of time to come back to earth and remind ourselves that the darkness is coming and that summer won't be here forever, and we kind of need to prepare. So have you been doing things in your dance of life that have been destructive? Have you been, you know, taking in, more energy from others than you should? Have you been getting away from your spiritual practices or the things that ground you? Are you leaning into addictions right now? Are you partying too much? Are you over emotional? You know, do you have that fire getting out of control? Do you have a lot of anger or jealousy, or all these frequencies that you're not managing right now causing a wildfire in your life? You know, these are the things that we need to start looking at right now. And Lord Shiva reminds us that, hey, this dance of destruction, it's creating a lot of chaos around us, and it's really starting to break down our world that we've built up, our intentions, our dreams, all of the work we've done and the things that we've been, you know, the efforts and the energy that we've been putting towards our dreams and our intentions. We're kind of tearing that up right now with our way of life and with our dance. And maybe we're not, but that is another thing that's coming to light with this moon right now. So this is a time of healing. It's a time to come back to ourselves. It's a time to come back into our earthly bodies and ground in and come back to reality and really prepare ourselves for what is next, for the darkness coming, for the fall, you know, letting go now of these ways, of these unhealthy habits, of all of this destruction will just help us to continue to let go as we move into the season of autumn and the season of, you know, letting go with nature, so that we feel more grounded and really rooted in once we move into winter. Hey, Lisa, no worries that you're a little late. You can always tune in to the replay or back it up here after we're done live. And Lisa's a Virgo, by the way. So funny that we're talking now about this earth energy and then the Virgo arrives. Happy season, by the way. So yeah, we've got this Lord Shiva dance of destruction energy. We've got the Star of Symphony saying it's time to heal. It's a time to vibrate. It's a time to express ourselves. We've got Aquarian energy saying, hey, it's a time to be free. It's a time to own it all. It's a time to be honest and vibrate through your throat chakra. It's a time for you to open your heart, your mind, your consciousness, and just be excited about all that this planet and this human experience has to offer. And it's time to let go of anything that's standing in the way of any of that right now. So I want to bring in our own vibrational healing. And the first thing I want to do is I want you, if you have a piece of paper, if you have something to write down, I want you to write down the things that might be coming up right now that you need to let go of with this moon. I want you to write it down right now. And if you can't write it down right now, it's cool. Come back to the replay or write it down after we're done. But if you have it right now, go ahead and write it down. And what we're going to do tonight, as you're writing these things down, we're going to bring in a little vibrational therapy, a little sound healing. We've already been drumming. We've grounded in, so we can really focus on our human experience. We can focus on our life right now. We can get real and honest about our life right now. And we can write down or bring to mind the things that we are ready to release, the things that are standing in our way. Maybe it's our habits. Maybe it's something external. Maybe it's something internal. Really think about that. And the sound healing that we're bringing in, it's also going to be a vibration of creation. Because when we release, we create space. Every time we release, we're creating space at the same time. And when we create space, we have room to grow new things. We have room for us to finally blossom our life into what we want it to be. So hopefully you've got your things written down. We're bringing in the vibration of Om tonight. And I do not have my singing bowl. It's at the studio. But we're going to chant it. We're going to do it 3 times. And you can always go back and find Oms all over the internet and YouTube and whatnot if you want to listen to more. Om is the vibration supposedly that was made when we had the Big Bang, or that first creation of the world. There was a great Om that went out throughout the universe. And from that vibration of Om, everything else began to grow and form and expand. Now, we also know in this cosmic expansion that is constantly happening, we know the universe is always expanding. We know within that comes a lot of destruction, a lot of breaking down. The stars collapse, the planets collapse, the stars burn out, the suns burn out, the galaxies turn to dust, things go into the black holes. There's this constant destruction happening within the construction. So this Om frequency not only represents the creation of things, the vibration of the new, but it also represents the vibration of the destruction, the dance of chaos that is vital, that is essential to our creation. So you have to let go. You have to break down. You have to release. And if you're going through things like addiction, you're going to have to hit rock bottom. If you're going through things where you are elevating your circle right now and you're trying to find a better tribe, you're going to have some times of solitude and loneliness. I recently heard that in order to become empowered, we have to become powerlessness. And we're going to talk about that more on our next moon circle with the virtual new moon circle honoring Virgo new moon. That's September 6th, by the way. But my point is that this, don't be dismayed and don't hold despair and don't hold grief for the letting go and the breaking down and the cutting of ties and the setting of boundaries and that a little bit of darkness that you have to go through to find your own light, because that's what has to happen in order for you to create so much more. And if any of you know me personally, or have read some of my stories and my blogs or whatever, I've gone through it. I've broken down many times. And even over the past 2 years nearly now, I've been shedding my skin. And it's finally healing. Literally, I've been breaking out and peeling and shedding my skin and going through a thing of destruction in my physical body so that I can feel better. Currently, for the past 2 weeks since the new moon, I've been going through an herbal detox, not only with teas, but some other herbs that the lady I see for traditional Chinese medicine prescribed to me. And I'm having a breaking down of the things inside of me right now. But with that is a detachment of the parasites that have been living inside of me. And with that, there is a letting go of that energy. And I can feel it so strongly. I am so less negative. I am so less imbalanced. I am so less off. I feel so much better. I feel clear. I feel open. My channel has opened up. I have so much coming through. As you can see now, or if you've come to my classes, you've been hearing my classes and the things coming through, and I'm just feeling that release. It's like, it's like a breath of fresh air when we can let all that dead stuff go that no longer serves. And Aquarius energy is that breath of fresh air. So that is the energy of Om that we're going to bring in tonight. Long story short, bringing it back. So Om is the blend of A, O, and 3 sounds. And we're going to do this 3 times. And you just let this vibrate however it feels. When you're ready, take a deep breath in. Bring it down. I was a little gentle with that one. I'm going to be a little bit more forceful with this one. Feel free to join me. Inhale. One more. Inhale. Close your eyes, receive the vibrations of your own Om, of the Om that I just shared, of the cosmic Om that continues to vibrate throughout the expansion of creation, connecting us to these other worlds that hold this Aquarian energy. Let these Oms be a catalyst for our own creative pursuits, for our own growth, and expansion of cosmic consciousness and light. Let this Om help us move through the destruction and the letting go of what we need to release with ease. Let it be a reminder of our own power to create the space we need for the new. And finally, let this Om continue to vibrate, moving forward with time as we expand into this new age of the air element of Aquarius. Open your eyes if they're closed. So my computer died. I have no idea how long we've been together. I have no idea what time it is, but it's time for our tarot reading. Aquarius fashion. Time does not exist. Time is relative. Like, if there could ever be Aquarian energy with us right now, it's here with my crooked phone and my ability to not have a clock and not know what time it is, and all of the energy. So I do a tarot reading every full moon and new moon, and I do a written interpretation of these on my website if you'd like to go read about it, but I also like to do a vocal interpretation, especially with this Aquarian moon. A perfect time to do a tarot reading. And Aquarian energy, by the way, is a little into the stuff that's like, you can't explain it, or you can't see it, or you can't fully put proof to it. So things like oracle cards, tarot, crystal healing, even though we're getting more and more valid science on these things, astrology, numerology, any of that. We're going to talk about numerology just briefly tonight. Yeah, so all of that stuff comes into the Aquarian energy. So I think that that's a really good time to do tarot readings. If you need to get a tarot reading, I do personal readings. You can send me a message. But if you're needing to do a tarot reading or just pull your own cards, this is a good moon to do it under. So don't let me forget, I want to talk about retrograde season after this, and I want to talk about the numerology of today. I want to talk about those things before we go. Don't let me forget. I'm going to take a deep breath before I channel this tarot reading. Calling on the energy of the cards to provide us with whatever guidance we need to hear, we need to see, we need to absorb. Please let me be an open channel of information, insight, and wisdom. And thank you for letting me be this channel with our circle tonight. So I always like to pull 3 cards, a past, present, and future, especially when we're midway through a lunar cycle on a full moon. For our past card tonight, I pulled a reversed version of the Chariot. So this is represented by the number 7 and the sign of Cancer. And we've moved into the 8th month now, right? So our last full moon was in July. And now we've come back around deja vu. It's like an upside down situation because we're back again with an Aquarian moon now. The Chariot represents pursuits, our energy being directed towards things, especially goals, targets, intentions. And, pulling this as a reverse card, I think that we're being called back to the intentions of release that we set with the last full moon. Because if any of that is still here now, it's time to let it go for good. Because if you don't let it go for now, it's going to stick around until Aquarius season. So for like the next 6 months. And you don't want to carry any of this stuff around into 2022. 222 is a very magical number for unity, harmony, creation. So let's let go of the things that are holding us back from that sensation of balance and peace. The Chariot also represents Cancer energy, which is emotions, and a little bit of things around the home or family. So if you've had things coming up that have been affecting your home, your family, you might be looking to release anything around that. You also might need to be doing some deep healing around mother wounds or wounds from your childhood. We're in a retrograde season right now, and it's a time of looking back into our past. Saturn is in retrograde as well. And that's all about learning our big picture. Chiron is in retrograde, which is about our wounds. So, we need to be looking at the things that are causing us a little bit of emotional turmoil, emotional distress, kind of turning our world upside down right now, not helping us really show up with the energy that we need towards our goals and intentions. We need to use this full moon to release the stuff that's causing that emotional distress. For the present card, I pulled Justice, the sign of Libra, and the number 8. And we're in the 8th month of August, present moment. And this is a time to, again, cut ties, release. That's what the sword is all about. It's a little bit of Kali energy. And a little bit of releasing the things that are not causing us harmony or balance, right? Libras are all about balance. I'm a Libra, interestingly enough, pulling this card right now. But this is also, Virgo energy. We've just moved into Virgo under this portal of this full moon. And Virgo energy is about grounding in, finding balance, letting go of the things that stand in the way, getting back to, our energy directed towards our goals, intentions, and dreams, or towards the information that we want to take in as well. With this being an Aquarian full moon as well, I do believe that this card is being pulled for us to think about the things that aren't fair on the collective right now. Aquarian energy is about finding cohesiveness and unity and harmony and that global understanding of one another, holding space for one another, holding empathy for one another. And we need to be releasing what stands in the way of that. Again, talking about what I talked about earlier in the moon circle, segregation. Anything that's making us see people differently instead of seeing them as the same, equal. We all bleed red. And the energy of this full moon is reminding us of that now. So open up your heart. Open up your heart chakra and open up space for others. And let go of your judgments that are causing you to feel otherwise. For the future card, I pulled a reversed 5 of Swords. So more swords are coming into play, meaning that in the future we are going to continue to have to cut ties. We are going to continue to have to detach. We are going to continue to break down in order to build back up again, retie new cords, develop new ties, new relationships. But first we have to release and create the space. And 5 is in numerology a number of growth. So when we have the 5 of Swords reversed, that means that we are going to be letting go of things that are restricting our growth. We might feel challenged in our growth and have to make hard decisions in order to rise back up again. In order to have our own spiritual expansion, our own light expansion, we are going to have to carve out some space. So the 5 of Swords is telling us to be brave as we go into the future, to be a little patient, and to, expect to cut those ties with as much ease and non-attachment as possible. So just to recap, in the past, the reversed Chariot reminds us we have a lot of things from our past, a lot of things that cause us emotional distress, a lot of things that distract our energy. And it's all been coming up right now, and it's keeping us from moving forward. It's pulling us back down. But don't get weighed down by your past. It's time to move forward. Direct your energy somewhere else. So take this time to heal and mother yourself and treat yourself in the way that you didn't get treated so that you don't treat others in that way moving forward. In this present moment, the Justice card reminds us to be fair, to treat each other with equality, to be open-minded, to be open-hearted, to be fair. To be fair to yourself, to create more balance in yourself, to create more harmony within yourself, to make choices that give you joy and growth. Because when you treat yourself in that way, you treat others in that way too. And we want everybody to be balanced and in harmony. And in the future, just know that there's more decisions to be made. There's more crossroads ahead. There's more relationships and ties to cut. There's more space that needs to be carved out for your growth. But the challenges help you to embrace your strength. And every time you show up brave enough to cut that tie, to sever what's holding you down, you create more courage to move forward. So I want to talk about, just briefly, retrograde season and the numerology of today. We'll start with retrograde season really quick. There's a lot of cosmic bodies in retrograde. Uranus just went into retrograde a few days ago, joining the planetary retrograde party. Uranus is the planet of revolution, rebellion, and shakeup. When Uranus goes into retrograde, and he will be in retrograde until January, it's a time that we get a little shaken up. Our world gets shaken up. The world itself gets shaken up. We just had a big earthquake in Haiti. Afghanistan's getting shaken up right now. The whole globe is getting shaken up with a lot of different challenges. So this is a time for us to look at how we can have a revolution and do things differently moving forward. We also have Saturn in retrograde. Saturn is the planet of karma. Saturn reminds us to look back at the big lessons we've learned, the big times in life known as our Saturn return, when like everything seemed to fall apart. There's that destruction aspect again. Saturn says, look back at those times where everything fell apart and you became such a better person because of it. I can think of a lot. I can think of a lot of experiences I went through in my Saturn returns that really put me to be where I am today for the better. So Saturn in retrograde asks us to look at those things. This is still going to happen over the next few months. We also have Pluto in retrograde. Pluto is the planet of power, control, and a little bit of the underworld. Pluto in the underworld in retrograde. We are going to have more death. We are going to have more loss. We are going to have more grief. And I mean this both on a planetary level, and I mean it on like an energetic level. I mean it on a human scale. There's a lot of death coming. There's a purification of the planet happening right now. There's a cleansing of our energy happening right now, and we're going to feel that. And we're going to feel a lot of power struggles within it as we take back our own power, as we fight for our freedom, as we feel like our world is spiraling out of control. We're going to be fighting to hold on and stay grounded and stay kind of floating above water during all of it. We also have Chiron in retrograde, which is the wounded healer. And Chiron is, when Chiron is in retrograde, our wounds come up. Traumas, addictions, things that are festering. It's a time to self-heal. It's a time to pay attention to those things, and it's a time to help. With Pluto in retrograde, maybe we don't have the power to self-heal. Maybe we need to seek external help. So we've got to look to the light of others to help us along the way of healing these wounds for good. And then Jupiter is also in retrograde, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion, cosmic joy, luck, fortune. And when Jupiter's in retrograde, we actually have more light, more opportunity to expand and grow. So within all of this chaos and darkness and shadow season of retrograde times, Jupiter's in retrograde like, hey, there's so much gold and light and wisdom in all of this, guys. You've got to look at it. You got to be blissful for it. You got to be grateful for it. You got to have joy for the suffering, which is Tantra, which is Buddhism. It's spirituality in itself, because we understand that the destruction causes the creation. So coming into the numerology of today, August 22nd, we could have done the moon circle last night, because now as we are transmitting, the moon has moved into Pisces. But the full moon Aquarian energy will be felt for the next 48 to 36 hours. So we're still in it. And on August 22nd, we shift into Virgo season. Now 8 is the sign of infinity, infinite energy, infinite cosmic destruction and expansion, cosmic creation. 22 is the number of divine holiness, the combination of divine masculine and feminine energy, holy union, cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, Magdalene consciousness. 22 being also the number of Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. 822 being the number 3. 8 plus 2 plus 2 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 is the sign of the Holy Trinity. 3 is the sign of the Holy Grail. 3 is the sign of the lineage of the rose, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Isis. We are in the season of Virgo now on 8/22. We are in the season now of the priestess. We are in the season of the rose. We are in the season of purity. And with this full moon aligning with all of this energy of holy essence, we are being called back into our light. We are being asked to cultivate our light. We are being asked to purify our holy vessel, our body temple, to get rid of the unhealthy habits, the unhealthy attachments, the unhealthy addictions that are contaminating our energy, that are becoming toxic to us. Now is the time to use the beautiful white light of this full moon to purify. So release, brothers and sisters, on this auspicious day, release what you need to let go of so that you can rise up and you can evolve and you can shine brighter. Today is the day. Let's not wait till tomorrow. Let's not regret the times in the past when it didn't happen. Today is the day. Bring that Om vibration into who you are becoming and the life that you want to truly step into as we move into this new earth in this golden age. This is what I have for you tonight, loves. If you have anything you want to put in the chat, please put it in now. I'm going to grab a drink of water. If you're just tuning into this, know that the transmission will be here. You can catch the replay. I will also put up a replay video on YouTube and my website. They should both be available by tomorrow morning. And you can read about the moon. I write about the moon as well. I write about the tarot reading. You can read about the moon now. My tarot reading will be up by tomorrow as well. And I just want to thank you for being here, and thank you for holding space for my voice, and thank you for coming together, and thank you for sharing your energy here in this ether that will continue to grow and enhance with all of the other healing energies that are combining here tonight from all of us coming together to vibrate a little higher, to tune into something beyond this planet, beyond this world, beyond this human experience, to believe that there is other stuff out there that we can be a part of that can impact this world. Thank you, Ashley, for being here. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to all of those that catch the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you again on September 6th. It's American Labor Day. It's a Monday. It's our new moon in Virgo. So we're right on the cusp of Virgo season now. We'll talk more about it on September 6th. The energy of the cosmic virgin, the energy of purity and holy white light. And if you need anything in between then and now, reach out on social media, comment on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, send me a message, whatever you need to do to connect, let's do it. And don't forget to get over to my website, vinalene.com. We have a free online community there called Tribe. There's also a great program called Moon Magic. If you want to learn more about the moon, it's a really easy program that guides you through the main 4 phases of the moon. I've got a program called Advanced Moon Magic coming out here in a couple of months. If you want to graduate into that, I suggest you tune into Moon Magic now. And yeah, I'm just sending you a lot of blessings with this full moon. I'm so excited that you could be here. And I hope you have a beautiful evening. Until we meet again, loves. Namaste.